Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Oh, there we go. I'm fumbling. You hear that noise? I'm fumbling around trying to hit my button over there. I got to hit my button, otherwise my beautiful mug won't pop up and you won't see me. Which, again, I think I've said this before, could be beneficial to not only the audience but to the world at large. Hey, hello and welcome to Operation Status Quo here on a Friday. It's a holiday weekend. Are you happy out there? How do you feel? Let me know. How do you do? I love you. You feel that positive energy that I just want to unleash on you people. I just want to unleash love. I'm the love leash. I'm the love unleasher. This is how it always goes, right? Okay, hey, how you doing out there, by the way? And welcome. If you haven't been here before, my name is Pete Palma, and this is Operation Status Quo, where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and of course, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. And that's what we want to do during these times as the world transitions into whatever we're transitioning to. But I definitely believe, as I speak on all the time, that we're heading into a wonderful, beautiful direction. I'm sure we're going to have to deal with some upheaval and turmoil along the way, as we have been since basically 2020. That's just been what's been going on. It's been the unveiling. You know how they do, like when you have a baby now, they do the big gender release party and they pop the balloon and you see what you're going to have, you know? And I wonder now, honestly, here I go off on a tangent, but I wonder now, in the way today's world is it even fair? Is it even fair to the unborn child to assign it a gender before it's born? I mean, maybe the poor child doesn't know. While it's in the womb, it's making its decision if it wants to be a boy or a girl. I'm a boy, I'm a girl. I'm a boy, I'm a girl. I don't know what I am. I'm a boy, I'm a girl. I'm a boy, I'm a girl. And here we go. How rude. To for this poor embryo, the fetus, to be assigned a gender before it even has the chance to come out into the world and say what it wants to be, no matter what it is biologically. You have to laugh at this stuff a little bit, because it is so crazy. And first and foremost, again, because if you're new here and you might not understand my sense of humor, I accept, I don't know about we, because I don't know what you think, but I accept like everyone for who they are, no matter what the case may be. I really do not care what what you decide as far as your gender or your sexual preference or your religion or any of those type of things. It's really just about being nice to your fellow man or woman or whatever the case may be. So unfortunately, though, our world, that's what I'm saying, like how the mainstream, and this is what they do and what we're going to kind of touch on today a little bit. But that's what the mainstream does, right? They create these scenarios and all this divide and, goofy questions that make people argue with each other over, nonsense. And I'm not going to speak negatively or whatever or haphazardly in a sense of like what the actual plight of certain groups are. I mean, it is what it is in our world today. But again, you have to remember that it's not the everyday person that's against or disagrees with whatever another person does. It's the confines of the society and what they try to create. And it's so funny how it's always done so surreptitiously, right? Because, they create two worlds, like the world where we don't talk about it, but, we know something's not right. And then the world where they try to, push an agenda, and it riles everybody up. And it's just like, instead of just really talking about things on an even keel and a normal emotion, a compassionate human level from your heart of like a fellow human to a fellow human without the confines of what your gender, race, or religion, or ethnic background or anything is, whatever. All right, it's just so crazy, and that's why here on Operation Status Quo today. What was I saying in the beginning though? I said it's like a gender release party. I was talking something about the show. I was going to say that the show is kind of like that, like because we're just observing the world. I don't know why. See, that's why I shouldn't go off on tangents. I really should stick to my thought and keep what I'm going to say next in the back of my head, but we're observing life here on this program, ladies and gentlemen, because, it's comical. It really is, unfortunately to say, because I know there's struggles out there and things are not so conducive to easy living in a sense. But again, I go back to saying how I said this in the beginning, that since 2020, how the world's been such a, kind of shit show in a way. But the truth is, it's really been a shit show all along. And, now people are just starting to realize it. And that's, kind of everything that's happening, all these truths being exposed and the old foundations crumbling as we build the new. So that's kind of like what's going on here. And we don't, again, on this program is not a space to criticize people or to put anybody down or what's good or bad or what's right or wrong. It's just more of a space to say, can we be open-minded enough to just kind of put our egos aside, our these rigid thoughts we have of what our life is and what the structure of the world should be. Can we laugh at ourselves a little bit in this, fleeting life that we have that's, so momentary in a way, really. I mean, it seems like you live all these years, but realistically, how short our time is here. Can we put all that aside, the whole human thing and how serious and what we got to do and business and live and, all the confines and I don't know. It's just how I feel. And I just say, let's put that all aside and just kind of just talk about things and look at things. And how do we find a way to all give each other space to be their best selves and for all of us to move forward in a positive way, societally, however that may be. Another thing I know I'm going off tangent already, but I just want to say this too, because it's popped into my head. I saw one of the things on the when they were talking about the weather today, and they're talking about this unprecedented heat dome over the center of the U.S. and the temperatures, and every time they go on with this, even with the Canadian wildfires and stuff, they go on about this is all part of climate change and we got to go green and climate change. And I really just want to say this, and I've mentioned about Greg Braden before. He's someone you can research, and he's been talking about this for so many years. It's unbelievable. Yes, the planet is going through a change, right? The weather or the environment, but this is a normal pattern of the Earth. And again, this just kind of goes, I'm saying this because it's not about us and carbon emissions. Not that that's good. We should, be clean and, utilize the Earth in a proper, respectful way. But what's happening would happen one way or the other, whether we were here or not, because it's the normal cycles of the planet Earth. every 10,000, 12,000, however many years it is, it goes through this shift of the poles, the magnetic poles, the shift or whatever, and it causes these things that we're seeing, and that's like the crux of even what I'm talking about here today, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I'm going to right after this. But they don't never tell us what's really going on, right? They know, the powers that be know that this is a normal part of the Earth cycle, right? But instead, they create this whole story of climate change propaganda and what the humans have done to create all this, which is not really the case. And then they push that agenda on people to, tell you have to, drive electric cars or this or that. I'm not saying anything of that's even bad. I mean, it's great to have new technologies, clean technology. I'm all about, again, I think we should be doing everything harmoniously with the planet, but it's just funny. It's just funny because if they really cared, I mean, you're gonna tell me they couldn't see this coming from the 60s, 70s, 80s, the way we were polluting everything, and all of a sudden now they're worried about it. It's like it's D-Day now. We're right here. It's everything's happening. The Earth is falling apart. So I don't know. I just find that pretty interesting. But anyway, let me get into this because here we go. I already see my I'm getting a little bit of the red here on my stream, so hopefully you're seeing me okay. I can't stand when that happens. It really is a frustrating aspect of going live on YouTube, I have to say, because it distracts me as I try to do the show for you, and then I see I'm getting red and yellow, pink and green, purple and orange and blue. You can sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow too. That was Captain Noah. I grew up in Philadelphia, and Captain Noah was a local celebrity who had a children's show on, I think it was on PBS when I was in my single digit years, right? I even met Captain Noah once. Anyway, and that was the song on his show, red and yellow, pink and green. I'm not going to do the whole thing again, but I see those colors flashing over here, and it just agitates me. So I had to sing a song to calm myself down. Today is the 30th of June on the good year 2023. Hello and welcome. Today's episode is entitled Lights, Camera, Affirmative Action. And, I was never a fan of affirmative action, not because I don't believe that, minorities should have a chance. Everybody, because I always see that everybody's equal anyway, so it makes no sense to me. But I always just thought it was I find it more insulting to the groups that utilize it than anyone else, because if I was an African American and thought, well, the only reason they put me into this college is because they got to meet demographic numbers, I would find that insulting. It's almost like if you date somebody and they don't really like you, right? They just like that you have money, or they like I don't know, things you have, or they like your job, or whatever. They don't really, you don't really matter. It's just that reminds me. I'm really going off today. That reminds me that I remember dating this girl one time, and and she was saying to me about she was getting ready for the date that her and I went on, and she was with her niece or something, and the little girl said, "Oh, where you going out? Where you going?" And she said, "Oh, I'm going out on a date. I have to get a husband or something." She told me that. She said, I'm thinking, I realized for the course of a couple dates that we went on, I was like, this girl, she don't give a crap about me. I don't even think she knows my name. I said, she just needs somebody to put a tux on and say I do, so she can get knocked up and have her babies. It was like I'm saying that's how people live, right? That's how our society has been created to not even have do things that really resonate with you. That's why I always say I'd rather be single for the rest of my life than spend one date with somebody that. Well, I guess you have to do one date to find out if you're really trying. But you know what I'm trying to say. There's no way in hell I'm giving my time, my energy, my resources to some, I want to say, I don't mean it like this, but some slop bucket that doesn't give a shit about who I am. I thought about that girl afterwards. She did wind up getting married. I had found out not too long after, because we only went on the couple dates, and I was done. But I said to myself, that's why they have the best men there, all dressed up in tuxedos too, right? Because if the guy, something happens to him, the groom, they just push him out of the way and drag the next guy in the tuxedo over. It's just, please, somebody marry this girl. So, she was a nice girl, though. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I'm not big on shallow things. I'm not big on people just doing things because they think they're supposed to do them. It's listen, this is me. This is who I am. And if you like me, that's great. And I'm here for you. And if we get along, I'll be happy to do it. But don't bullshit me. Don't bullshit me. Hey-o. So, affirmative action. What do you guys think? If you're here, feel free to drop comments in the chat. I find it to be an impediment on our society. I'm not going to speak on obviously. Times were so much different back when slavery was part of what was going on in this nation. And to me, if people really had guts, right, and didn't, just capitulate all the time to the powers that be and authority, this shit with slavery could have been wiped out way long ago, before the Civil War. And quite honestly, I half believe, who knows what the Civil War was really about. They say it was slavery, but I'm sure it was something with money, because that's the only time wars are fought. It's always over money. So, under the guise of slavery, freeing the slaves, whatever, of course, I don't know. The whole idea, from a human perspective, that one group of people would even enslave another group of people is just bonkers out of the mind to me. But of course, we as a whole right now in our society are slaves. I say this all the time, that we're socioeconomic slaves. And we think we're free. We're told we're free. And we don't even know what real freedom is. And that's what I think we're heading towards. But personally, I know people are really upset. And I just want to say to people out there, I don't want to, I'm not saying right or wrong, good or bad. I'm sure that affirmative action during certain times helped people that maybe, had a hard time getting into the system. Whatever the case, it's years and years ago of how things are. Our the demographics of our country have changed so much, for goodness sake. I mean, like, what are the percentages now? Like, well, most people are minorities now. I mean, I think the whites are the minorities now, right? Because there's so many. I don't even mean that like I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, like, there's so many people here that have come from other places and cultures that have built and grown here that, I just don't even, get, like, what they're saying, and why do we keep perpetuating this idea that minorities are so suppressed? Like, and I guess I can't speak on it being that I'm not, African Americans. I haven't lived that kind of life of ever being treated a certain way, or I really don't know. Like, I'm sure some people have really experienced some bad things, but in general, I don't think humanity is that way. And I've known a lot of successful people of all kinds of cultures and backgrounds, and to me, it's just like, if you got balls and you step up and you believe in yourself and you don't take shit and you work hard, then you're going to be successful. You don't need to, like, sit around. And that's what I think about it too, is that it disempowers people, right? I mean, it disempowers people. Like, if you're a young, tell me because I'm just speaking from my opinion, right? But I'm saying, you're a young African American growing up. I mean, and they have to put certain amount of people in schools, and I'm sure I'm saying African American because I know that's the big thing, but I'm just saying whatever race or that you are, that's minorities, Spanish or Mexican, whatever else too that they do the same stuff with. I just do you want to grow up thinking, well, I might get into college because they have to have certain numbers, and and they'll just take me. Like, don't you want to work as a human, as a person? Don't you want to flourish and be your best? And your what you do should stand on its own, right? Your own merits, as far as what efforts you put in, what you provide. We should all be encouraged. This is what I'm saying. We should all be encouraged from day one to listen to what we are on the inside, and be empowered to take steps to be the best person we can be. And it doesn't even have to be about going to college or even in the job place. I mean, quite honestly, every time you fill out an application or you do anything, they're always asking your race, and I don't even want to say a lot of times, like, what the frig do you care whether I'm white, black, green? I mean, what the frig do you care, right? Like, I'm saying, this is who I am. This is where I stand. These are my credentials. What's it matter? Like, it doesn't matter. And then, like, they come on, like, Biden, of course, because it's such, first of all, our fake government, the fake system, it's all just a show. That's one of the reasons I called it lights, camera, affirmative action, because, the whole thing's a show anyway, right? And, they come on and talk about, like, oh, the Supreme Court's crazy, and it's a step back for people, and look, what did Biden say yesterday when he came on? He said there's still racism in this country. He said it like 3 times. He kept saying, there's still racism in this country. There's still racism in it. And I'm saying, like, that's your president, right? Well, he's not really the president. He's a clone or whatever, an actor. But, the truth is, that's a person that the general population believes is the leader. And this is what you get from a leader? Like, that's the kind of guts that this guy has to come out and keep, like, pounding it into people's heads. There's racism in this country. Why would you want to, like, say that? Like, don't you want to bring the country together? And they act like they're trying to bring the country together, right? Oh, we have to have more programs and more programs and more programs because, the diversity, need more, diversity, demographics and all this blah, blah, blah. It's just like, why did they come on and say, listen, people, I know we've had our differences. Some people have differences, but the truth is we're all one. We're all one people. What if the president came on and said, forget about the boundaries of our nation. Just we are here on Earth as one humanity, and we're all equal, and you have the power to why not? So I'm saying, like, why not come on and spin it that way? Like, come on TV and say, we did away with affirmative action because we believe that people's merits should speak for themselves, and it should be done on an individual basis, not on a race basis, and I don't know, because not for anything, if they have to meet certain numbers and put certain people in schools or jobs or whatever because of affirmative action. So doesn't that mean then that there's people that are actually more qualified sometimes? I'm not saying all of them, but there had to be situations where people were more qualified than some of the people that got in but weren't able to get into the school because they're not the right color. So I mean, isn't that wrong too? I mean, I'm just saying, like, they don't deserve the chance to be educated based on what they've worked for, and doesn't that benefit like the group and society overall? To put the best people in the space to learn more and to be productive in society, not just to throw somebody in because they said and the person, is half a stunad. I don't know, maybe they're not, but I'm just saying, even with this stuff with schools, they get around everything between the athletics and scholarships and all these programs and things they do, it's just like, it's such bullshit, that's what gets me agitated, because then they put this whole thing on the news and they come out and make it like it's a horrible thing, and the Republicans are so far out of control and they're trying to take away everybody's rights. They want to destroy diversity. Like, I mean, you're telling me, like, do these people really believe at this point in 2023 that the Republican Party, whatever, forget, I mean, I don't care about politics, but that's how they're saying it. Like, do you really believe that the people leadership there are saying, we got to do something because we're getting tired of these blacks and Spanish and Middle Eastern, or I don't know, whatever, right? Wherever the people are getting tired of all these freaking people, man. They're coming around here and they get educated. And, I mean, like, you really think they're thinking that at this point? It's just like, I mean, come on, man, come on. It's like such a put on to just make people pissed off and fight with each other. And I think it really affects like the younger generations more, because they've come up in such a pussified way of the way our world is. Everything's like, it started with everybody gets a trophy no matter what. Even if you lose, you get a trophy because we don't want your feelings to be hurt. And everybody has to be coddled. Oh, no, just no, we don't want any. And no, it's okay. You do. And everybody's got to be understood. And nobody like is taught to have any balls and stand up and do something and just take care of their life. I mean, it's not freaking complicated. Like, it's just like, I don't even understand it. They've created a society of weakness, and then they want to have all these programs that proliferate the weakness, in a sense. And then they want to make it like, oh, now you're being repressed. Now you can't get into school because, you might actually work hard for yourself. And, I just want to circle back to make it clear that I do understand that there's been difficulties over years. And, I'm sure some people have used this over the time, the affirmative action when it was in place, to their benefit, and maybe did help them get a leg up where they wouldn't have in a different situation. Every situation is different. So, but at the end of it all, if the institutions, like, you don't even need it, right? Because if the institutions, that are in charge are such at a level of understanding and openness, they would just bring people in anyway. I don't know. It's just like it's stupid. It's just so stupid, because a bunch of people apply to college, and you look through and you pick the ones that are the best. Whoever who deserves to be there. Not like, oh well, I don't know, these guys they're way off. They don't meet the criteria at all. But they are a minority, and we got to do something. Otherwise, we won't get funding from or we'll get sued, or and it's just like, come on, man. I'm just speaking to you, to individuals out there. I'm speaking to everybody. I always talk about this. I love everybody. I just want to see the best for everybody. We're being lied to. Don't let something like this, even if you really, or somebody on this other side that really, believed in it and thinks that you're being attacked, like, you're not being attacked. You're really, really not being attacked. You have the power within you to create whatever you want in your life. So, you got to let it go. We got to let all this kind of crap go and move forward in a positive way, empower yourself, break the chains, stop leaving. To me, it's like, that's another form of slavery, like affirmative action or something. It really is. It's like saying, okay, you're a black. That means you're not good enough. So, you can only get into school this way. It's just like stupid. I mean, it's stupid. And it's an insult. It's an insult to the different cultures, populations. It's an insult to us as a country, the United States, what we're supposed to stand for, what we're supposed to be. And they keep trying to push it down our throat that there's all this racism and everybody's like, bah. And, listen, I've said it before. I live down here in Florida now. It's very diverse community, and everybody gets along. I talk to everybody. I'm one individual. I know other people are different in certain ways. I'll even say this, like maybe this is going a little too far, personal wise, but growing up, I'm not going to identify anyone. I'm going to say it like this. Growing up, I did have some relatives, that came up, I mean, their parents were right off the boat, from Italy, and they grew up in a different time, in a different world. And when I was coming up, I had black friends, and, I bring them, hang out with them. I bring them around to the house and different things. And, one of my relatives said to me one time, and it's like, hey, nothing wrong with black people, but we don't need to, bring them around, and I'm just thinking, I think to myself, like, oh my God, like that is like a crazy race, in my mind back then, I was like, that is like, how can you even think that or say that? But when and this person that I'm speaking of was a very kind soul, my relative, very kind soul, loving person. So would never turn anybody away, and wouldn't even turn away a black person, but didn't believe that they really should be associating or living together so much, especially like marriage or something like that. Forget about it, right? And not because they're bad people, but we are living in a program society that wants to keep us in fear, wants to keep us divided. So, and back then there's even less realization of levels of consciousness and stuff that we talk about today. So, them coming up in the early 1900s, they were just taught, blacks are here, whites are here. They grew up with segregated bathrooms, back of the bus. I mean, all this kind of bullshit, right? So, that was just their belief system. And, somebody who's born today, you wouldn't even, by the time they get to be, 30, 40 years old, they're never even going to be thinking about stuff like that, right? So that's we got to take a step back and remember that, again, it's a show. They've created this paradigm that we live in that keeps us suppressed, and to me, something like what's going on with the affirmative action, I think it's a good step, really, to empower people to reclaim our humanity. All right. I mean, that's basically it. Because, you're not less than. No one is less than that they need somebody to, that they need to just, be, given papers and, oh, you just come in. I don't know. I think that's just how I feel. I just think it's crazy. When I saw how upset everybody was yesterday, I'm thinking, like, what are you upset about? Like, this is like freedom, this is like the freedom that we're trying to fight for. You don't need some institution to make sure there's a certain number of spaces for you to just do. Don't you just do it? Just forget the system. Forget working. That's what we got to stop doing. We got to forget this stupid system and start just living and say, fuck you guys. I'm sorry. I'm a little worked up. Now I'm cursing. Hold on. Let me hit a round of applause and slow down, because now I'm cursing. That's it. I'm going to end it here because I think I made my point pretty clear. Hey-o. It's just ridiculous, and I think it's good. I'm sorry to see that people are upset, but a lot of the people that are upset now are this younger generation a little bit that's like just totally effed up in the head, and I don't even want to put them down. They're effed up in the head because of the way they've been, the way our society has operated, right? And kept them, stick phones in their hands, stick video games in front of them, give them processed foods, watching TV all day, and it's just like, you just like dumb everybody down, and then they make everyone scared, and everybody's dependent on the system. What do we, the more this government, like, what is going on? Like, we don't need this system. We're capable of creating and sustaining our local communities. We don't need these people, okay? And they're crap. So anyway, break the chains, I want to say, and the chains have been broken in a sense. And, you can let me know what you think. There's not an attack on anybody, and the education they're giving you anyway in these schools, these colleges, it's bullshit anyway. It's all indoctrination and propaganda. So on top of it, you're better off not going. Go to a vocational school, learn a trade. You'll make a lot more money, and you'll be useful to society. society, and you'll feel that you're providing something that helps everybody. So anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I got for you here today on Operation Status Quo. Get out there, live free. Don't be upset. This is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. We have to go this way. We have to stop all the separation. So it's just a step towards saying we're all equal anyway. We have to stop thinking like this. We're all equal, and it's fine. And you just work hard, and you'll get whatever you need in your life. God is the source, is the power. So if you're in tune with that and live in the right way, forget about all the institutions and our governments and everything else. This is where it comes from, right in the center of your chest. And the more you work with that and continue to find your center, the universe, God, will give you everything you need in your life anyway. So it'll work out the way it's meant to be, because it's bigger than the system, and they just want you to stay trapped in the system. All right? Okay. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Excuse me. Here today on Operation Status Quo. Of course, we observe the status quo, we flow with the quo, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. All right. Please take the time to like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you out there individually as well as a group. God bless you guys. I hope you have a great 4th of July holiday weekend. Be safe out there, but not too safe. It's important to have some fun. I'll be back with you on Monday, no doubt about that. Well, maybe. You never know what happens, but I'm going to say I'll be back on Monday, and then we'll find out on Monday if I'm here. Until then, have a great weekend. I love you guys. Operation Status Quo disengaged.
It's a boulevard of